So I'm going to tell a bit of a story, kind of a story. I'll tell about a person I know in my life. We'll call him Bill. I really got to know Bill when I was a sophomore in college, but I saw Bill throughout my freshman year of college. And Bill, it's just funny, his name's not Bill at all, but Bill just sounds funny. And before I ever had a one-on-one sit-down talk with Bill, I always looked up to Bill. He worked the masses at the church as a usher, or I think he was the head student in something. He was a liturgical coordinator or whatever, but he worked at the church. And Bill would always get very dressed up on Sundays. He always was almost fully shaven, but he had a little hair on the top of his head. And I knew nothing about Bill. I just sort of saw how he carried himself, and I saw that he worked at the mass, and I sort of presumed from everything I had seen about him, he was reverent, and he was a good, upstanding man, this Bill. He walked well, he talked well, he was well-spoken, he was very formal, and he glorified God. And I knew nothing about Bill's life. I didn't know where he was from. I just knew his first name and his last name. And then later I got to know Bill, and it was weird, but he was so humble to the point that I had to pull all the details out of him. I figured out that Bill had deadlifted 450 pounds. Bill was a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, which is decently impressive. And Bill worked in the summer as a volunteer firefighter. Bill told me that he was a volunteer firefighter in a random conversation. I think it was about jiu-jitsu. And he was saying, yeah, I'm flexible. My job requires it. I'm like, what's your job? He's like, a firefighter. And I had to pull that out of this dude. And what I found so interesting is that often in our lives, we think that we need to be explicit in our words and almost boastful in a sense to glorify God, or to use different things in our lives to glorify God. I'm thinking of here at the gym, lifting weights. You do a PR and you think you have to post, you deadlift 500 pounds, or Bill deadlifted 450. You deadlift 450 and you think that you have to tell others that, God gave me the strength to do this. I've been praying to hit this number. You think that you have to post it on Instagram with a caption that says, all glory to God. And if you stay silent about it, and you do it in the gym, and you do it in the gym, you can't glorify God through it because you're not talking loud about it. And what I realized is you don't need to really talk to glorify God. A quiet humility glorifies God in itself. The way you carry yourself. Bill, again, I doubt 20, 10, 15 people at the college knew that Bill worked as a volunteer firefighter. I got to know him pretty well. Only heard him talk about it once. He said he literally went to a fire station on some trip, didn't bring it up. And I think what was so powerful for me in this example is you can not worry about boasting. Yes, boasting your testimony, oh, what Christ has done for me. But with a lot of accomplishments in your life, it builds you up in how you carry yourself. And people can sort of tell from your aura a level of how accomplished you are, a level of your discipline, of who you are. But yeah, I wish I could give an example of how this dude walked. But long story short, he was very well spoken, and he stood upright, and he worked at the mass. And I looked at him and I was like, that is a good man. That's a God-fearing man. Judgment? Yeah, kind of. But I knew it, and I had a gut sense. Later did I realize what this guy had been doing all his life. He was also a pre-med student, and he went his whole college career studying for to go to medical school. He decided not to, but he worked his ass off in college. Insanely physically fit and insanely religiously devout. I didn't know that stuff until I got to know this guy. And then I was like, wow, he has so many accomplishments. But I already got that sense from him. I already got the sense that he was glorifying God in his life. But he didn't have to say what he was doing and boast about his accomplishments to do that. So I hope this kind of story makes sense in realizing that, well, yes, there are plenty of opportunities to verbally talk about God, to wear a shirt that is Jesus, to not flaunt, but to pop your chain, to show your cross. The way you carry yourself and the small interactions with others also can glorify God, and people can tell. So don't worry about having to boast about your accomplishments to glorify God. Thank you.